day to you, Guyana, and welcome to Facing the Nation. I am Malika Ramsey. Thank you very much for joining us. We do apologize for the late start. Of course, it's raining in the city, and I usually complain about traffic, and now that it seems those very controversial parking meters are on hold, it's a bit crazy in the city once again. So we're trying to get a whole lot of things fixed. Of course, today's program plans to be another interesting one. One of the things we're going to be focusing on is what is happening on the 23rd of February 2017. Of course, that is MASH night. It's going to be we call it a show, a big concert. The concert is basically, the theme is righteous invasion of truth. They're taking a stand against gender-based violence. As you know, this is a very topical issue in our country. We always try our best to protect the vulnerable in society, so we're going to be hearing much more about that from that group. I'm also told that they're in collaboration with the Ministry of Social Protection. So it's always good when the government of Guyana can help out in whatever way they can to not only bring attention to some issues, but try to solve some of the problems that we experience from various issues. But while we're waiting on some of the other members of that group to talk to you about that, I need to remind you that currently happening is the 28th Inter-sessional Meeting of the Heads of Government of CARICOM. As we speak, that's also happening in the city, so you could at least understand why there is so much traffic, more traffic than there usually is. The President of the Cooperative Republic of Guyana, His Excellency Brigadier David Granger, is currently the chairman of CARICOM, and of course, as is customary, he addressed the opening session yesterday. That's just about 10 minutes or so, a 10-minute presentation by our dear President. So what I'll do is have you take a look and a listen, of course, of that presentation yesterday. It's being kept at the Marriott Hotel, by the way. There are a number of things on the agenda, especially the issues of crime and security. Again, those are also very big issues for Guyana, things that we need to address almost immediately so that we can preserve life, preserve what always is our greatest resource, that is our human resource. So I'll have you take a look and a listen at the President's address yesterday. Very short address, short but heavy in a sense. I'll have you take a look and a listen to that address, and by the time we come back, we will be talking to that group that is involved in that concert for Matrimony Night, which is basically taking a stand against gender-based violence. This is Facing the Nation.
It is now my pleasure to invite the Chairman of the Caribbean Community and the President of the Republic of Guyana, His Excellency Brigadier Retired David Granger, to address us.
Thank you. Distinguished colleagues, heads of government and head of states and government, ministers leading delegations, Secretary General and staff of the Community Secretariat, ladies and gentlemen, members of the media. It is my honor to welcome you to the 28th Inter-sessional Meeting of the Conference of Heads of Government of the Caribbean Community, and also to the Cooperative Republic of Guyana. I thank our colleague, the Honorable Roosevelt Skerritt, Prime Minister of the Commonwealth of Dominica, for his stewardship during the last semester, a semester characterized by seismic changes, both in our hemisphere and in the countries of the community. It is my privilege to continue the rotating chairmanship and, of course, to handing over the baton, or as Dr. Mitchell would say, the bat, to the Prime Minister of Grenada in July. I extend also a welcome to His Excellency Jovenel Moïse, the 58th President of the Republic of Haiti, who, in his 40th year, is our youngest and newest member of our family of heads of state and government of the Caribbean. I was privileged to have attended his hearty inauguration on the 7th of February. I was inspired by his passion and his commitment to his people and to our region. The Republic of Haiti is the Caribbean's oldest independent state. It is the CARICOM's most populous member and its largest market. We look forward to strengthening our fraternal ties. We look forward to Haiti's continued participation in our community's work. I'd like also to express our collective gratitude to the Secretary General and the staff of the Secretariat, the community's civil service, who toil tirelessly in the engine room of SSS CARICOM. Thank you. Colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, the four founding fathers, Barbados' Earl Barrow, Guyana's Forbes Burnham, Jamaica's Michael Manley, and Trinidad and Tobago's Eric Williams, who brought forth the Caribbean community 44 years ago, were men of discernment and determination. They were the courageous pioneers of the future. They were not craven prisoners of the past. They were not prisoners of prejudice and petty jealousies. The founding fathers of our great movement were keen to protect the emergent new states from the perils of economic marginalization. Theirs was a time when regional integration communities such as the European Economic Community, the Latin American Free Trade Association, the Central American Common Market, and the emergent East African Economic Community had begun to sprout from the rubble of the post-war empires. The worldwide trends were clear: integrate or disintegrate, combine or collapse, merge or be submerged in a sea of strife. Our founding fathers recognized that, given the deformed character of our colonial economies and the small size of our markets, integration would allow for a larger and safer market, for a louder voice in negotiations with other countries and regions, and for a stronger hand to bring together our scattered states. Our founding fathers were convinced that if the Caribbean was to fulfill the hopes and aspirations of their peoples for full employment and improved standards of work and living, regional integration was an obligation, not an option, for our governments. Forbes Burnham, one of the founding fathers, speaking at the conference of officials of the Commonwealth Caribbean Territories in Georgetown 50 years ago in August 1967, even before CARICOM was established, warned, and I quote, "Either we weld ourselves into a regional grouping serving primarily Caribbean needs, or, lacking a common positive policy, have our various territories and nations drawn hither and thither into and by other large groupings where the peculiar problems of the Caribbean are lost and where we become objects of neo-colonialist exploitation and achieve the pitiable status of international mendicants," end of quote. Ladies and gentlemen, colleagues, that common positive policy was conceived and the concrete foundation of our community was laid at Chaguaramas on the three pillars of economic integration, foreign policy coordination, and functional cooperation. We have erected a fourth pillar, that of security collaboration. The Treaty of Chaguaramas was a response to the challenges of the post-colonial era. The revised treaty was a response to the post-Cold War era, a time of increasing trade liberalization and the growth of regional organizations. Economic cooperation is a fundamental pillar of our community. The Caribbean, if it is to escape the hazard of economic emasculation in today's global environment, must expedite the full implementation of the CARICOM single market and economy. We face threats that include dampened demand for our goods and services and distortions in our financial sectors caused by de-risking by international banks. The CSME has the potential to enhance private sector growth and competitiveness by providing access to a larger pool of resources, facilitating the movement of human capital, catalyzing the establishment of regional businesses, and encouraging the free movement of goods. The CSME must not be allowed to become a victim of equivocation and procrastination. Functional cooperation is an elemental pillar of our community. The community has the capability to meet its food needs. Food security will ensure the health and nutritional benefits for our people, earn foreign exchange, and eliminate the bloated bill for importing food. Ensuring regional food security is a cross-sectoral task involving cooperation in agriculture, finance, health, and nutrition, and infrastructure, among other sectors. Belize, Guyana, and Suriname, the community's three mainland states, are together bigger than Germany, bigger than Japan. We have the land. We need to commit ourselves to the task of feeding ourselves. Food security can be advanced by the full utilization of our lands for large-scale investment in agriculture and agro-processing, and by dismantling barriers to regional trade in agricultural products. Colleagues, CARICOM must also intensify its efforts at regional energy security. We have the means to do so since we are blessed with abundant sources of renewable energy. The community has done considerable, commendable work towards ensuring energy security, which can ease the community's energy sector off of its addiction to fossil fuel and encourage the adoption of renewable sources of energy. Regional security is an essential pillar of our community. The Caribbean, a maritime corridor between two continents, is vulnerable to narcotics trafficking and human trafficking, to gun running, to terrorism, and to penetration by international criminal cartels. Transnational criminal threats demand transnational functional cooperation. We live in uncertain times. We must continuously strengthen our security architecture in order to assure our citizens and investors of greater security and stability. We must be vigilant also in the face of continuing threats to the sovereignty and territorial integrity of our member states. Colleagues, the spirit of Chaguaramas is not a ghost, it is not a zombie of a dead project. It is the vital breath of life that inspires us to intensify regional integration. The Founding Fathers had that inspiration, the inspiration to see the need for integration and the motivation to establish this great movement. They have entrusted the happiness of our citizens and the prosperity of our community into our hands. We are today the trustees of this legacy. We must bequeath to our progeny a more prosperous region than we inherited from our progenitors. I thank you.